So in this video, we're going to go over the PrimalOS touchscreen that is attached to your Plunge. Now let's start with the main screen you're looking at. This is your main home screen that gives you access to all the videos, session recordings, as well as control of your chiller. In the upper left corner of the screen, you'll see the current temperature of the Plunge water. If you hit View Device Details, this will give you more control over the current settings of your chiller and cold plunge. Now, under device control, we have auto, cool, and heat. If you select cool, the chiller will only cool the water. It will never add heat. Heat mode will add heat to the water and never cool it. Now, both these settings will keep the water within 2.5 degrees of your set temperature. Now, you'll notice an option that also says auto. Auto will keep it at your set temperature plus or minus 2.5 degrees. This is very useful to use if you're in cold environments where you may have to cool the water during the day when the sun's out, but also add heat to it at night to keep it up to temperature. Now, below the current temperature, you'll see plus and minus signs. This will increase your set temperature. Power button cycles the chiller on and off. A dark blue icon means power is on. Gray means power is off. Now, on the right side, you'll see navigations. Schedules is where you can schedule when the chiller runs. In most situations for home residential use, you do not need to run the chiller 24 hours a day. This current one we're looking at is located indoors, and we only run it 8 hours a day. So we run it 6 hours a day in the morning, which is the typical time when the cold plunge will be used. And then we give it a few hours in the afternoon just to bring the temperature back down. This screen allows you to add schedules. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a plus sign. If you press that, you can name your schedule. Under repeat, you can tell it what days you want it to run. If you want it to run various different days, for example, maybe you want something different on the weekends. Otherwise, you can select all days. Tell it when you want the chiller to turn on, when you want the chiller to turn off. Set the temperature that you like it to set at, and then simply hit Add Schedule. I won't save this one since we have two already in there. And you, of course, can edit your schedules you've already saved by hitting the 3 dots and hitting Edit Schedule or Delete Schedule. One thing to note about these schedules is that this schedule does not match with the schedule that you'll find on the front of the chiller. On the front of the chiller, there's a touchscreen that will have a scheduling option. We suggest you do not use that scheduling option unless you don't have Wi-Fi. If, for example, you were in some location that didn't have Wi-Fi, you could use the schedules built in directly into the chiller, but they are not the same and they do not sync. Now back to the main screen of your chiller. We have maintenance. So maintenance is where our maintenance reminders exist. We remind you to change your filter, clean your hair strainer, change the plunge water, and check your water chemistry. Now, these durations are just suggestions on what the typical user will experience. You may have to do these more frequently, or you may be able to go longer on these. Now, as time progresses, these tickers will move along, and once, for example, the check water chemistry has hit 1 week, it will turn red and say due. You'll be able to press it. What we suggest to do is simply mark it as done, and it will record the time at which you did that task, and then it will reset the timer. Below all these tasks, for example, you see water treatment. If you press that, you will be brought to the guide that is also on our website under help.primalplunges.com. And in here, we have guides related to whatever the task is that needs to be done. For example, filling your plunge and changing your water. Help guides are also available on the main maintenance screen down under Help Guides. Back to the main screen for controlling your plunge. Let's look at shared users. Shared users is how you have more than one person able to use the same plunge, and we keep your metrics and your plunges separate. So when you have a session, and for example, if a husband does one in the morning and then a wife wants to use it in the afternoon, you can have different profiles to keep your settings separate and your recorded sessions separate. You also have separate logins on the mobile app, PrimalOS Mobile, on your mobile phone, that will keep things separate. Under shared users, it will show the plunge up top, and it will show any added users down below. This allows that user to share this plunge. Since we're talking about shared users, how do you switch between shared users? So in the upper left-hand corner of all screens, you'll see a profile picture. Press that, and it'll bring you back out to the profile selection. Now, the main user is myself. I share it with other users. This is where you switch between users. I'll select myself again to return back to the screen. Now let's look at the supplies option. If I click supplies, this simply brings you to supplies related to your plunge. For example, if you need new filters, if we need to get more of the Sirona Simply oxidizer or sanitizer, this is where you can actually order it directly from the plunge. This is also available on our website, primalplunges.com, under accessories and supplies. Now let's check out plunge settings. Plunge settings is where you can change the name of your plunge. You also can allow notifications. If you do not have allow notifications, those maintenance reminders will not pop up. And then remove plunge is how you can remove this plunge from the system if you need to.